Hello out there. My name is Laulu Akode and you are on to Inside Sources. Merry Christmas, everyone. First, our hearts and prayers are with the families that lost loved ones in the Ibadan tragedy occasioned by the funfair stampede in the city last week. The same is true of what has happened in Okija, in Anambra State, and also here in Maitama FCT. In Ibadan, more than 30 innocent children have died. We send our condolences and wish the injured speedy recovery. We trust that in all these situations, on your state, Anambra State, and in the FCT, that the governments will get to the cause of this disaster. And we also welcome the President's concern and call for a thorough probe in all of these sad situations. And here is my take for today, entitled, Who Will Tell the President, Part 5. Who Will Tell the President, Part 5. This year, 2024, is wrapping up very fast, and we must all be grateful for the Almighty for life itself. And as we take stock, we ask, who will tell the President that while the current difficulties in the land are a result of cumulative poor leadership and followership choices, actions and inactions over the years and decades, it is now the burden of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to lead us in a way out. The hardship of this year has been very troubling. But who will tell the President that the forecasts are still quite bleak? For instance, it is being reported that come 2025, more than 30 million Nigerians are likely to be food insecure. Who will tell the President that this is more than a 30% jump from what happened this year, 2024? 30% jump. Inflation is unabating and has now risen to 34.60%, while food inflation is even worse at 39.93%. Who will tell the President that nothing short of a dramatic and massive bailout for MSMEs and SMEs ought to be on the table? Something more than what the 2025 budget he presented on Wednesday has to offer. Who will tell the President that while his focus on foreign direct investment is commendable, no country has ever thrived without a keen focus, overly determined, even outlandish efforts are put on the table to empower SMEs on a large scale. Who will tell the President that we need to transform BOI, that is Bank of Industry, SMEDAN, and related MDAs to dramatically calibrate small businesses as they are the vital engines for sustainable economic growth? Who will tell the President that too many businesses continue to die? And for him to address this directly is urgent. The Tinubu administration is making a number of progress. We must acknowledge that, certainly. And let me give you a few examples. And the President reminded us of some of these things during his budget of restoration on Wednesday. For instance, the President told us, and it is true, that now we have 3.46 growth rate in the third quarter of the economy, ahead of the 3.2 projected global economic growth rate. That's good news. Also, foreign reserves have now risen to over 42 billion. That's good news. There is also rising exports resulting in some trade surpluses as we speak. These are commendable. But who will tell the President that creating impact for the masses at the earliest possible time is what most people are waiting for, and it is attainable? For instance, who will tell the President that we need a comprehensive all-of-government, all-of-society approaches to tackle poverty and to tackle hunger? Who will tell the President that inadequate electricity supply, with the national grid collapsing every time here and there, this is making businesses to be crippled and is disrupting families? Who will tell the President that bolder steps in the power sector, such as an aggressive pursuit of the Siemens initiative, large-scale solar projects, diversification of the grids, and other options need to be constructively and robustly put in the mix? And now, Who will tell the president to return to his initial idea of bringing gas into the energy mix in one full place as he had planned? Who will tell the president that 2025 budget of restoration should expunge the procurement of those flashy, oil-guzzling vehicles and repeated items that are being replaced year in, year out? We need to show a little bit more sensibility. And Mr. President, sir, what happened to your directive on the implementation of aspects of the Oronsoye report? It has taken several months since you said that those aspects should be implemented. And finally, someone needs to tell the president and the Attorney General of the Federation at the federal level and our governors at the state level that all the colonial legacy legal statutes that is inspired by the need of the colonists to dominate and harass us as a people, that they should be totally expunged forthwith from our laws. Now that Dele Farotimi is granted bail, let us use the occasion to further affirm our resolve as a people to free our citizens from oppression, from abuse of power, and to ensure that there is social justice. And that's the only way, because justice must remain at the very core of governance. Otherwise, we are only treating our people like slaves. Now, that is not what we want to do. And there you have it. Inside Sources will be right back. Welcome back to Inside Sources. Today, as we continue our conversation on the future of Nigeria, we have again with us for the second time, and the last time we spoke with him was about a year ago, our elder statesman, Chief Edwin Clark. I'd like to welcome him back to Inside Sources.
Thank you very much. You're also welcome.
Thank you so much. The last time we spoke, that was just about a year ago when we started Inside Sources. And by the way, the program is now 1 year. And we are grateful, you know.
I watched it myself.
Okay.
Yes, it
All
was
right.
very nice.
Thank you, sir.
Never mind what questions you asked me. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot from it again.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So if we just take a look at this year, the year is ending in a couple of weeks. How do you assess what has happened in the country? How do you assess the government in this year, 2024?
Yes.
You know, where do you think things are? If you can start like that, Chief.
Thank you very much. I think Nigerians have to be more realistic. They have to be practical. They have to change their attitude. The ordinary Nigerians included, because the politicians in Nigeria are the greatest enemies. Some of them are the greatest enemies of their own country, called Nigeria, because they don't care what happens to the country. Anyway, before we go on, let me express my sadness and sympathy to the family, to the government, and the people of Oyo State for the loss of these children. In fact, I thought Mr. President would declare the mourning period for these 35 innocent children. May the Almighty God take care of them.
Amen.
Wherever they are. Thank you.
Amen.
Now, having said that, Nigerians are we are the enemies of ourselves. Because a patriotic Nigerian must be a Nigerian who thinks of Nigeria first before himself.
True.
But today, the politicians, some of them, most of them, think more of what they would gain than what Nigeria should gain. Nigerians should come together, both the government and the opposition and the other people. Some of us are now going to 98. I think I've gained a lot about Nigeria.
Certainly.
But to say that for over 1 year of President Tinubu's government, we don't know what is going on. Nobody has contacted us. They don't believe that we do exist. So, Nigerian leaders do not know how to manage diversity. That's the problem. So you ask this question. I believe on my own side, it is too early to judge the success or the failure of this government. The elections have just taken place 1 year with the Supreme Court decision. We have a duty therefore to support the present administration. Never mind what will happen in 2027. But let's talk about the one we have finished. But there are many Nigerians who want positions. Therefore, 6 months after election, they are ready to contest again. They don't believe that the new government will be given time to settle down. But that has never happened. Not that I'm supporting, giving marks to Tinubu's government. I think it's good. It's healthy enough. People doubted that. It has shown that it's healthy enough.
True.
People are also saying that they have made remarkable progress in international contacts.
Yeah.
And Nigerians should not read unnecessary meaning into some of this travel. As a government, there's no doubt Mr. President Tinubu has committed some mistakes. When I was in London, when this issue of first of the march against the government,
the end bad governance protest in August.
Protest. And people said, don't come home. I said, I will. Let me go home. I've been part of this government from the First Republic, right from my young age.
True.
So let me go. So I came back, joined others in trying to appeal to see that there is peace. But I watched with horror, with fear, what happened that 1st of August, 9th up to 3rd. I felt something was happening. But luckily, it's all over. And so, I do not think that it's fair of anybody to blame the present government or to say that they've not been working or they've been working. Let Nigerians come together and work for this government.
Yeah.
Let me add this to it.
Okay, sir.
I feel that the President Tinubu himself should sit down and listen to Nigerians. He is not a dictator. He's not a military dictator, military president. He's a civilian president. So he should listen to those in his party and to others. So I think that Nigerians are the enemies of ourselves because we are only thinking about ourselves, not the unity of this country. When the patriots visited Mr. President on one Friday and delivered the message, I think Mr. President should revisit the discussion that took place in that meeting. What Nigeria wants now is nothing but restructuring. That's all.
Okay, Chief, so that we dimension the issues one by one.
Okay.
Let me take it from your point that Nigerians should help themselves, that we should come together.
Yes.
What will you say to the idea that it's time for the Nigerian elite to come and develop a consensus that will be across party lines, that will be across regional lines, that will be across religious lines, and whatever it is that divides us, and that we should call on those who have risen to become number one citizens, people like General Gowon, General Babangida, Abdulsalami, Buhari, President Jonathan.
You're only counting military people.
No, I included President Jonathan, people that have been heads of state or presidents, to come together and advocate so that we can sit together as a people and say that, look, regardless of what party is in power, this is the minimum that Nigerians should expect, rule of law. And another important stuff, what do you think about that? The idea of bringing those leaders to lead the charge, to advocate for an elite consensus.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm very much disappointed by the attitude of our elders, which I'm one of them. I think it will be wrong for us to sit down watching the destruction of the legacy we built over the years, built by the people that you just mentioned. Without being immodest, I was a minister together with some of the people you mentioned. I was in that government. When I say that up till now, many of us have not been consulted or asked for any advice also. Not that one is asking for it. I've been a senator. I've been a minister.
Federal minister.
A federal minister. I've been so many things. What do I want? During Jonathan's time, perhaps people say I was sleeping there. I never slept there. But I was very close to him. So what am I still looking for in Aso Rock? Nothing. So what am I saying? We were all ministers together. At least 3 of them became head of state. Murtala Mohammed, gentleman, was the head of state. Then Obasanjo was head of state.
Yeah.
Then you have Buhari. Then you have IBB. Then you have Abacha and Abdullah. These are military people. There are many, many other civilians in this country who would like to, who have the knowledge, the intelligence, the ability, and the personality. But most of them have not been called. And a few must have spoken, felt disappointed because they were not listened to. This government can only succeed if the politicians change their attitude. What am I saying? Trump can never be said to be better than any of my presidents in Nigeria or past president. But the Americans, as I said, are very strong institutions. So let us develop the institutions of government in this country so that they can speak. If INEC speaks, people say it's INEC talking. If any other institution talks, they say it's Nigeria talking. So I think it is not possible. Who are the people? At least our ages range between 80 and 90.
Yeah.
I'm going to 98.
Wow.
So when you think about that, what are we going to do in government? But we can advise.
Yeah.
So that is why when the patriots came and talked, we expect that President Tinubu to give priority to the reconstruction of Nigeria. How does he do it? Call the leaders of the various ethnic groups. Nobody to pretend that you can manage Nigeria as a unitary form of government. So I believe that Mr. President, you call the people you call the leaders, not those of us. We can contribute, we can say something to our own people. Let there be town hall meetings by various ethnic groups. Let them decide, what do we want? What does Nigeria want? Are we equal? Before.
Let's take it.
So it is not possible
to
bring these old people you mentioned and others like ourselves for a meeting. We can meet at our level with the president presiding.
Right.
Then he can meet with the next group.
Okay.
But you have a country whereby people think only of becoming president in order to lift up their own people, not Nigerians. So each president in this country has gone to the extent, we have gone to the extent of treating some ethnic nationalities as first class, others as second class. But if you know how to manage people of Nigeria together, there will be no problem.
Okay. I mean, very, very important points that you made there, and I see your point that there are issues that has to be sorted out, and you believe that the current president has a lot of role to play.
Yes, he has a lot of role. Yeah. Let me say this.
Yeah.
The question I'm writing an article. I may say this. The 1st of August problem we had, and there was a vote of confidence on Mr. President.
Yeah, the last Council of State.
Yeah. The question was, then there was another one again recently.
Yeah.
The question I asked, for what? How relevant does Mr. President need that type of thing? No. President is the president of Nigeria as a country. Whether you are in the position, whether you don't belong to any party, whether you are APC, he's the president of the whole of Nigeria. And it should behave like that. Let me give you some of the failings. Okay. It's not enough. Nigeria has developed for a long time. When President Tinubu was very relevant was when he was governor of Lagos State. The problem between him and the former president of Nigeria, Obasanjo, and we all hailed him. But it appears that he's bending to the other side. Now, what one believes is that, Mr. President, you have constant meeting with the leaders of the country, with the various groups, with the youths, with the women, and the recent trial, as if the whole government, we were afraid of youths, young boys, so you charge them to come. What for? I think the problem, therefore, is that the leadership should embrace everybody in this country. Okay. And when your enemies should be in your government, doesn't matter. But today, you look for all your friends, whether they are competent, whether they are social, whether they are honest, they must be in your government. It's wrong. Nigeria does not belong to Mr. President. Nigeria belongs to everybody. And unless we are equal, every Nigerian is equal, and unless we believe that every Nigerian, any Nigerian, can rise to the top position, otherwise there will be no Nigeria. Problem will be there.
Let's move it along, Chief. Let's look at some specific things, like the tax reform bills. The president sent 4 tax reform bills to the National Assembly, and then the National Economic Council had a meeting, and where the governor said, oh no, president should withdraw those bills. What is your take on all of this? How do you read it? Now, before you comment, Chief, I just wanted to remind you an important point. Clearly, Nigeria's tax to GDP ratio is one of the lowest in the world. So we do have a problem with getting our people, those who can pay, to pay. That's a basic problem.
Yes.
But how do you read, the way these tax reform bills have been going?
Well, as I told you, I have never declared open my support, making speeches for President Tinubu. As I said, it is too early for me to issue a statement. But let me say this. On this ground, I congratulate him for his steadfastness, for his courage and wisdom. Because certain individuals or politicians want to run this country as their own country. When you decide to share, you must say, where the money we are sharing, where does it come from? So it must be taxed. But at the same time, I was shocked when the 36 governors, under the chairmanship of the vice president, met and discussed that Mr. President should set aside the bills for further consultation. And not only that, for the 19 northern governors to come together. When they have been meeting over the years, they should ask themselves, what have we gained? What have we realized for dividing Nigeria? 19 governors, 17 governors, and so forth. Today you have progressive governors and PDP governors. These are not things helping Nigeria. The constitution of Nigeria now with practice is bad. It's not good enough. By that meeting, the vice president, my good friend, his son, became a father. That he now has to carry news. That body is a constitutional body set up by the Constitution of Nigeria.
Yeah.
That at an advisory council,
Advisory council, yes. You're right.
Under the chairmanship of Mr.
Vice
President, should meet with all the governors attending. But today, the governors have converted that
council.
This council to an executive body. They've now gone into politics, so they now control the NEC, what you call it.
Yeah.
So
NEC.
Now, after they've done that, the question one asks, who were they going to consult? How many times have they been consulting their people? They know they don't stay at home. They're always in Abuja, thinking that they will get more money. So, as far as I'm concerned, I was so shocked again when I learned that the 19 governors of the North have met again. If 36 of you met, why are you meeting again? Because the northern governors, most of them, do not realize what they are doing. So this double standard, this arrogance of power must stop.
Okay.
So as far as I'm concerned, that tax bill must go on. But let me tell you one thing. Where I came in. Section 62 of the Nigerian Constitution, 1999 Constitution, talks about derivation.
Yeah.
Now, that's a tax system also. From there, taxes are paid. One would have expected that Mr. President, in his 4 bills, would not forget the provision of the payment of tax to the states that produce whatever resources.
Right.
So that again was a mistake by the government. To underplay us, Nigerians forget so quickly. I was Commissioner for Finance in a Midwest state between 1972 and 1974. I was Commissioner for Education, Midwest State, from 1968 to 1971. I am therefore surprised that people forget so easily. When our sage, our father, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, was in charge of the government of Western Nigeria, it is true, cocoa was one of the resources areas where we got our resources.
Right.
And 50% went to the West. And with that 50%, we had free education in 1956.
Yeah.
We benefited from it. But when television came in 59,
right.
When I say we, those of us from the minority area, Midwest, we don't. Roads that were built by Israeli companies, they never came to the Midwest. That's why the Midwest movement was formed. Similarly, the core state in the East believed that the Igbos were suppressing them. They form about 2/3 of the population. Therefore, they want the core states. Even our people, Chief Udo Odoma, and many others, believed that they were being oppressed.
Right.
The Pabliye, that's how Niger Delta Congress came into being. But what happened? When the Midwest state was created, the region was created in 1963, what happened? They said we should go home immediately. And there's a saying we used to, there was one Chief Oluwapata. And when Chief Akintola saw him, he said, what's your name? He said, Apata. How do you spell Apata? They say A-K-P-A-T-A.
Yeah.
He said, no, you are not Yoruba. Yoruba say A-P-A-T-A something. So you go back to your state. So we laughed. We are using it laughing. But what is the significance? At the end of the government, of the two governments, when they separated, the West, the Yorubas, refused to share the assets and the liabilities belonging to the two regions. Till today, they were the only people being treated like that. And I remember as Commissioner for Finance, I accompanied my governor to Ekiti, where Adebayo was staying the weekend. And the late Oni of Ife and SB Bakare were there with him. We were all playing. Then this issue came up. Adebayo, who used to be so nice, was very angry. What did you contribute to our economy? And so on and so forth. So till today, we did not share. Only in that area, West. The East shared their own. Not share their own.
But the West refused to share.
The West refused to share.
Is that so?
And what have they done?
Interesting.
They are up to today.
Okay.
They didn't share. Then when the question was asked, Adebayo refused. Then what am I saying today? It is the same West that now takes the briefcase to come to Abuja to share in the federal money. And the money comes from where? From the same Midwest, they refuse to share money with.
The issue between Chief Afe Babalola and Dele Farotimi, the question of criminal defamation, the man has been in detention. I think it's been released this weekend. What's your take? How do you measure, what has happened? What's your own assessment?
Listen, Nigeria, because we have no problem now. We're not solving our problems, major problems. This is a very small matter that could be settled between the two. If a man says that you said, I did this against the government, I used criminal assault, explain. Or vice versa. So I do not want to comment on it. I'm a lawyer. Not only that, I know my limitations. And above all that, Chief Afe Babalola is my friend. And I do not want to make comments that will be misunderstood.
Okay.
And so all that I will say is that the people should not blow up this thing. Let this matter be settled. If the man has gone on bail, the Yoruba elders, that's why you have a ferry. They should now summon two of them and talk to them. Because the matter is assuming wider dimension, where politicians are coming in again. So I'm appealing to my friend, Chief Afe Babalola. He had made his name. One man who had made his name in the whole of this Nigeria for not entering the door, the room of secondary school. A man today, one of the best lawyers Nigeria or Africa has produced. So I think we must respect our people who have contributed to the name of Nigeria. Not that we should, the rich should oppress the poor, but I believe that this matter is being overblown. So I'm appealing to both sides to sit down. Some of us will be ready to participate. So settle this thing. Not to allow a Afenifere or other Yoruba bodies to come in to say so. Those who want to play politics, let them play their politics. So if this is a matter of libel or of criminal libel or so on, these are things that should be sorted out. I don't want to make any comments.
No comments. All right. Thank you so much for your views and for your contribution. And thank you for your voice, which travels very far in this country. Thank you for coming again to Inside Sources. We do appreciate it. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, sir.
Thank you very much. Well, I wish you a Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Exactly.
And I pray the government to listen to the voice of the people, particularly at this time, and identify himself with the ordinary people in Nigeria. There are many people who will be satisfied if Mr. President comes out to address Nigerians casually and so on, talking to them. And so I think we need more of Mr. President meeting up with the generality of Nigeria.
All right. And that's
So I wish him a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And I also pray that Nigerians, despite our difficulties, we have no other country to go to. This is the only country we have. No other country in Africa can take the number of refugees that will come from Nigeria. So let us remain our country. Agreed. Let us meet what the various groups in Nigeria want and come back together and see what we cannot manage. If the colonial government can manage, put us together, why can't we
manage ourselves?
Could we it ourselves?
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you so much.
God bless.
Thank you so much for coming to Inside Sources. Welcome back to Inside Sources. On this segment, I have a distinguished Nigeria, a foundation member of the All Progressive Congress, who was also the immediate past Director General of Voice of Nigeria. He's currently a public relations consultant. I'd like to welcome to Inside Sources, Mr. Osita Okechukwu. My brother, it's good to see you again.
I feel highly honored.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming. So I'd like to ask you, you were a foundation member of the All Progressive Congress, and there was a lot of excitement that, many of us and many Nigerians had. Now, 9 to 10 years after, what will you say is the direction of the country today compared to the expectations that many of us and many Nigerians shared, particularly before 2015?
I have implicit confidence that the country is going to attain its own giant status as one of the leading group in Africa and globally. It might be delayed, but whether we're going to get there, we'll get there. What interests me most about the country is that the Nigerian people are good followers. Okay. The only disappointment is like when we came, we promised them a change, and they reposed a lot of confidence on us. But then, I remember during the major series at Tommy Kimi's house, when we kept on telling them that the depths that the PDP had taken Nigeria to cannot be easily unraveled unless we shut our doors and grow the party with this spirit. I remember when I was discussing with the then chairman of the party, His Excellency John Oyegu.
Okay.
There was an emergency convention, and I was one of those who are drafting the agenda for the convention.
This was 2014.
No, before about 2014.
Just before the electoral convention.
Not before even the primaries.
Okay, yeah, that's what I mean, yeah.
That was when the 5 governors bolted away
from PDP
convention. That is His Excellency Rotimi Amechi, Bukola Saraki, His Excellency, and the rest. Plus His Excellency Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and Kwankwaso.
Right.
So then they scheduled an emergency convention to change our constitution or amend our constitution. Because we had earlier in the merger agreed that for the tendency of the progressive that formed the APC to achieve desired result, we needed to move with this spirit.
Okay.
And to give Nigerians the details of the differential of the progressive and liberal content of rule of law that PDP abused, of free and fair election under the framework that late President Yar'Adua of blessed memory instituted through the Ways reports and the rest. They said, come. The objective is to win this election. We're doing this convention to amend that section that says it will take you about a year if you decamp from the PDP or from any other party for that matter to join the APC, that it take you about a year of membership before you are qualified to run for office under our canopy. Because our argument then during the merger series was...
So you had put up that proviso.
Yes, during the merger series.
That when people want to join, they should take a little bit of time
before...
to familiarize,
Because we were afraid.
But it was knocked down.
We were afraid then. We knew, for instance, as I said before in a different fora, that when, after the local council elections in 1998, and 3 political parties were registered, we need PDP, its progressive tendency had to be groomed when PDP comes to power. But unluckily, some other tendencies insisted it must be Obasanjo. I remember meeting my lawyer, Osita Okechukwu, senior advocate of Nigeria. Then it wasn't signed then. I said, I have a case.
Okay, who was the lawyer again?
Okechukwu, okay, senior advocate of Nigeria. I said, I have a matter that I want to be addressed. He said, you are going to be the deponent. I said, yes. He said, what's the matter? I said, Chief Obasanjo, I have a great respect for him as a statesman, but he is not good to midwife this nascent democracy. Because one, he is not coming from a democratic tradition.
Yeah.
And secondly, there's a seminar paper he wrote where he advocated for a one-party state. So he said, okay, go home and couch it and send to me so that I would draft it in the Lego.
Okay. You wanted to go to court to stop?
We did.
Oh, okay.
We arrived in court, and I made sure it was publicized. The next day, the then head of state, Absalom Abubakar,
Yes.
granted Chief Obasanjo pardon. I said, we're in trouble. He had his good statesmanship. Pan-Nigerian, a very serious content about the country called Nigeria. You cannot deny that to Chief Obasanjo.
Very true.
But my fear then was that he would corrupt the democratic system. Who showed up later.
He certainly did.
So while we were planning the merger, don't forget that the merger, we started in 2004.
You mean 2000? Oh, well, you've been trying.
2004, yes, after we led by the late Chibokadi, of blessed memory,
Pull out of
when he was chucked out as Senate president
by Obasanjo.
we now said, what do we do next? Luckily for us, one day we heard that General Muhammadu Buhari then had joined the APP. We said, good. If Buhari did not achieve anything, he will achieve the fact that Nigeria won't go a one-party state. So let's move. So some of us followed the Chuba to the APP and joined the Buhari. Subsequently, he was also made his VP.
Yeah, for the 2000.
And in that 2003 election, presidential election, records are there. Buhari won the majority vote. What he did not get is the spread, the national spread of the, as provided by the Constitution, that he must have 2/3 of
24 states.
Yes. 25%. They're not saying you should win.
Yeah, you must have 25%.
But he should have 25% in 24 states. But he did not meet up with that. So while we were preparing for a runoff, as provided by the Constitution, suddenly the result was announced. So I told them, you see, while we were in court in tribunal for 18 good months post 2003 presidential election, the worst happened in 2007 presidential election, where my big brother, Professor Iwu, did his own Makosa.
Makosa.
Luckily.
Makosa.
No, I was one of the agents in the Presidential Coalition Center. Somewhere there in the central area, there's a house then, an office block owned by Mercedes. That Mercedes sold to INEC as an annex. So that was where the coalition center took place. We didn't finish coalition. You remember Borno and 3 others. And he just walked out and assembled the media and announced the result and left.
Interesting.
So when we now formed the APC, I brought this idea to bear with others, people who believed in what I'm saying, that we should make sure for APC to achieve its intent, we'll make sure we remain concise. I told them that in political science, they truly don't bother about membership, bother about supporters. And the message, whether you were able to identify the main problem, besetting the country, and you offer a solution that if you are voted in, you will administer this accordingly. And if you don't want it to be polluted, close your door. So in that convention I referred to in area there, we quickly amended the Constitution that if you enter today, you could run for an election the next day.
It was amended.
It was amended.
Anyway, that's a very good historical context.
So that's where we came where we are. That today you could not distinguish the differential between the APC and PDP.
Which is a very sad commentary.
It is. So that is the outlier. So all the baggages that the PDP had, we inherited it without a blink of an eye. And today, they also, their products are prominent in the modern APC we have.
Very true.
In certain part of the country, like the Southeast, they are the top guns in APC. They manipulated the party election and imposed it because they don't believe in democracy.
Interesting.
So the issue that is holding us back is that we are still going to search. In fact, I've done some memo for those who are close to Mr. President.
That's President Tinubu.
Let's return to the tenets of progressivism. That what we're practicing both in the economic program do not reflect the progressive tendency. Then the issue of taxation, excessive taxation, entered the arena, which is under the progressive formation, and even in the liberal theory. You are advised to live with the people with much of their money, to invest the way they want. They are the better investors for their needs than the states. But if you keep high tariffs, energy tariff, high taxation, where would the people go next?
It's going to take up the whole...
So that is the danger we will face. So we must return to progressive ideals and the tenets of liberal democracy.
Interesting that you raised such very core and very deep issues that could have actually brought a breath of fresh air, but all of that has not happened. I wanted you to comment on what has happened this year. How will you assess the current administration, in terms of two things I wanted to talk about, if you will. The gap between what the people see in terms of suffering, struggle, hardship, and how it is, in my view, that the people don't see any kind of belt tightening on the side of the government, be it at the state level or at the federal level. And then the second thing, which is connected to it, that I wanted to address quickly because of our time, is on the multi-dimensional poverty that is going on in our country. I think the UN and some government agency actually came up with a report last month that said that we're going to have 30 million more Nigerians who will be food insecure. That means food insecurity in 2025 is going to go up by over 30%. I want you to, comment on these issues.
No, to be honest, Shirley, most state governors and federal government are doing their little best. Take, for instance, you talked about food insecurity. One of the reasons why there's food insecurity in the country, the federal government is addressing it by establishing the livestock ministry. I happened to have had a discussion with the Minister of Livestock.
Okay.
And luckily, he already owns a ranch. He told me any day I'm ready, we'll go to Zaria, he'll show me his own ranch. Because I told him, forget about this issue of grazing routes or reserves.
Yeah, grazing routes, yeah.
That there's modern equipment that could install a ranch that contains 10,000 cows. And the advantage it has is that it will produce more meat because they will be healthier than the one roaming the streets. It produces more milk. And I'm happy that the Minister Mahadi is thinking along that time. So when he told me that he's already on his card, I said, that's good. But if you need help, we have some foreign friends who are ready to queue in. And luckily for you, there are states who had agreed they can donate hectares of land. Because the issue about modern ranch is that you need to have a new town. Because you need to have housing, staff housing. You need to have hospital, both normal hospital and veterinary, to take care of the livestock.
Right.
You need also to have a large swath of hectares for what is called the forage. You have to grow his grass. A special grass, but
Right.
it's done in Brazil, it's done in Argentina, it's done in America, it's all over the world.
Right.
So you need to invest
In that.
and you need to have land space. So if the Honorable Minister, with the support of Mr. President, is able to achieve 1 or 2 ranches, because as I told you, what gives me confidence that Nigeria is in a position to be fixed
Yes.
is that the people are good followers and they are copycats. Immediately you see such ranch somewhere,
Doing well.
it will be attractive.
Okay.
And if you go that way, then the issue of, because part of the food insecurity in the country today is because some farmers, especially in the food belts, could not access their farms because of farmers-sellers clashes.
And insecurity, banditry.
That's where the insecurity originated. That's where the kidnapping originated. And they are telling you that we have, don't worry yourself, there's no way you can house the cattle. You can. To the extent that anyone roaming the streets, because banditry, I will be arrested. There's a provision.
You think they are willing, the herders, you think they are willing to accept that?
No, what I'm telling you, you cannot compete somebody. Are you not in the same market? You are breed with mature cows faster.
Thank you so much, Mr. Osita Okechukwu, former DG of Voice of Nigeria and currently a public relations consultant. Thank you for coming to Inside
That's
Sources.
my first address.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. And there you have it, another edition of Inside Sources. Like we say, we believe that Nigeria will prevail. Nigeria will win. That is why we are here, because we will not relent. Thank you for watching. My name is Laulu Akonde. Merry Christmas.